I've never had this much of a reaction. And I used to grow ghost peppers.
I'm here with Sami Saeed, the newly elected SMOB of MCPS. Welcome to our Blair version of Hot Ones.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. This is such a cool setup, and I think this is going to be a first in SMOB interview history.
Yeah, well, so obviously you were recently elected SMOB. What aspect of kind of becoming SMOB are you most excited about?
I think the biggest aspect is really being the change that I've always wanted to see, right? So as a student, in middle school especially, I've always thought of these changes that we could make to our system, and I just felt like there was no leaders that were really in touch that were kind of doing it. But after seeing Hannah though, I really realized that, it's possible and there can be someone passionate enough to lead. And so the thing I'm really excited about is I've always wanted to see changes. Now I have the power on the Board of Education to have a say in those changes.
Okay, let's do this first swing.
All right. That's not bad.
That's starting too spicy, I don't think.
There's an Italian hot sauce. Okay, not bad at all.
So I think a lot of people don't really understand what powers like the SMOB does have and really what they can do. So yeah, what can the SMOB do to create change?
Having meetings with the communications team and having meetings with all these people one-on-one to look at things that I don't necessarily need to go to the board to get to, like bringing back the SMOB monthly minute is a really good example of that, right? I want to go right to the TV team and say, hey, let's bring back the SMOB monthly minute, and that's something I'm definitely committed to next year.
Okay, let's do the next one.
Second wing. I can feel it a little. Still not there, but now I felt the first one I didn't even feel the spice at all.
Okay, so this is a bit of a hard one. If you didn't go to Richard Montgomery, which MCPS school would you want to go to?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't really have favorites necessarily. Every school is really interesting, unique, and great in its own way, right? So, I can say a few good things that I liked about every school. Like, the one that really struck me was, I remember Quince Orchard. The way the school was built, that was my favorite building. The glass, and I went to the counselor's office at one point, and there was like carpet and couches, and I don't know how many schools have that, but I know we don't. And then kind of on that note, Watkins Mill had such a nice wellness center. I mean, there were, counselors walking around all the time. Students could kind of go in there, do their thing, sit down and everything. I really like that. Whitman also has a pretty nice building. I mean, they're new. Same with Wheaton, also has a really nice building. Sherwood was also unique, but they had only the one floor going. But I think really like every school kind of has their own unique thing going on. I am really proud to be a Richard Montgomery student, but at the same time, I could see myself going to almost any other school.
Okay, next wing.
Oh, yeah, not bad.
Still early.
Yeah, this one, I thought there was a kick at the beginning, and then it just fell off. So I'm good. All right.
Okay, you've recently come out of the campaign. What was your favorite part of that process, and then kind of the hardest part?
Yeah, it's gonna sound cliche. My favorite part was genuinely going to all these different schools and seeing all the diversity, and the students and the buildings. Like, I had never gotten that kind of exposure before, and parking and showing up at these different schools and like seeing the different buildings and walking inside, and just like every single school, it's its own community and culture, and that was so cool. The school colors, the mascot, the population of students there, that was genuinely so enjoyable to me. Every time you walked into a school, you were entering a new world, seriously. And it was like I was entering a world that I was so happy to say I can now be running for a position, and now I am on the position of student member of the board. And then the hardest part, on the same token, the school visits definitely were really difficult, because imagine like I got 7 classes to do. I got to do work for all those classes, but in the middle of the day, all the time, I'm missing 4th, 5th, 6th, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Sometimes 7th period, sometimes 3rd period, and I just had to I'd go to school in a full suit, which is like not comfortable at all. And then, I had my backpack around my shoulder, and I'd go in, sit for a few classes, and have to leave, go to this school, and then most of the day, I do 2 to 3 schools a day. So then I'd have to go to that school, get a bunch of middle schoolers, get super hyped, and go to a high school, walk around, and then go back to the middle school, and then go back to school, and then go home and have a meeting. But I think in the end, looking back on all of it, not only would I say it was worth it, but it was such a good experience.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's like an average hot sauce, I would say.
So, kind of fitting as we're eating, if you could add one thing to MCPS lunches, what would it be?
Oh, that's good. I've actually asked students this on multiple occasions. I've gotten a lot of really interesting responses. A lot of students have told me they want to see more options like tacos or pupusas or things like that. I've also heard curry was a big one. Now, I'm looking at diverse foods, right? Like, I've gotten the classic, get a Big Mac on there or something, and that's not gonna happen, one, but it's also like, that's not really what I'm aiming for with school lunches. I'm aiming to kind of mix in the nutritional aspect of it with like being good tasting. So I know we have a really big, Hispanic population here. That could be something that I think would be a really, really good option.
Okay. So you talked about a lot of issues during your campaign, like mental health, the opportunity gap, overdose prevention, a lot of very serious issues. What are the first steps you're looking to take once you get inaugurated, once you're kind of in office and have the opportunity to do so?
Yeah, so with the board, there's always going to be like a select few things that they're already focusing on. And so it's kind of finding the balance between here's what the board is already talking about and here are my goals. And something that Arvin, who's our current SMOB right now, really told me was you got to think of MCPS as systems, right? And it's not like there's one thing happening and you can just do another. It's a whole system and each part is reliant on the next. So in terms of that, there's a few doors that are already open this year, changing the homework policy. Arvin's working on centralizing communication. I know that we're looking into financial literacy, getting a requirement for that. That's going to be voted on next year. That was a recommendation I gave. So those are a few things they're already doing. Some things I'd like to add, obviously school lunches. I want to make a student committee. And what the student committee would do is they would actually look into their cafeterias and kind of look into more deeply the preparation process and their thoughts on it, getting a student perspective. Let's just go on to the next one, I guess. All right. This one's got 3 peppers. So, I can feel this one.
Starting to get there.
Oh, man. That has a kick.
Yeah.
I'm not that good with spice. I don't know if I made that clear. Oh, wow. Uh-oh.
Okay, keep moving. So, with all your goals, everything you've kind of talked about, how do you see MCPS kind of changing for the better in the coming year and in the future past that?
Yeah, so recently I talked with one of the county council members and we were discussing how we can kind of look at the budget, and we're going to set a new precedent this year. So what we're going to do is we're going to really get into the weeds of the budget, look at the specifics, and we're going to look at that with the county council and the Board of Education, kind of collabing. That way, we can allocate funds to things that are absolutely necessary, and we can ensure that we're getting full funding for all of our projects next year. And so, that's pretty spicy. We're going to ensure that the county council and the board are on the same page, and that means more funding, free APs and IBs, more likely, infrastructure renovations, more likely. We're also definitely prioritizing mental health. We're prioritizing LGBTQ plus education. So I think we're moving in a good direction right now, generally. All right. I'm on fire right now, I'm not gonna lie. So you're gonna do like the hot ones, like the sound effect? Yeah. Well, you might want to do it right now. I can feel it. Oh, God.
Okay, a simple one. What's the best class you've taken?
I'll have to say my favorite is philosophy. I might tearing up a little, but my favorite class is definitely philosophy because I'm a really philosophical person. That's kind of where my mind is. I'm not a STEM person. Any science class, any math class I've ever taken, no, I do not like it. But philosophy really fits like something I've been looking for in school for a long time, which is kind of that like critical thinking. Right? I've always felt like it's been memorizing and spit out on a test, but philosophy is really, they get to hear your perspective or what you think about things, so. Okay. I'm dying here. God, all right. I would immediately pitch, yeah.
Cool.
I've never had this much of a reaction. And I used to grow ghost peppers.
Wow.
In my backyard. Ooh, that's tough. Okay.
Okay, so last time SCO interviewed you, you said you're a big movie fan. You talked about your favorite movie, like pop clips now. What's your favorite kind of bad movie? It's so bad, it's good, you have to love it.
I'm gonna say something controversial. I don't like newer movies. At all. And I don't like the directing style. I don't like the overuse of CGI. The storylines suck. So I will say, the new Marvel movies, don't like them. And I felt like a lot of it's really rushed. Endgame was good. I liked Endgame, but it just felt like rushed and everything.
Okay.
This is a lot of sauce on this one. All right. A little bit of sweetness, yeah.
So you've had a kind of a long journey of leadership to the position of SMOB.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to people who really want to get involved in MCPS, they're passionate about leadership and want to make positive change?
I would say, especially if you're in DC and NAC, join MCR, join MCJC, get in those county-wide SCAs. I would say, if you're not really involved right now, join county-wide leadership opportunities. SMOB Advisory Council, join MASC, that's like the Maryland State one. Make connections. I think that's your biggest asset. And that's the big thing about joining these is you're gonna meet other student leaders around the county and you're gonna be able to make those important connections. All right.
Final one. Oh, gotta add a little
I'm
bit.
not gonna lie, this one was not, I think that this one killed me. This one was kind of a relief and this one wasn't that bad, but this next one, ooh, that's a serious dab.
All out.
We're going all out for this one.
Okay.
We're gonna do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's cheers it. Okay.
We've made it through.
All right.
All the sauces. What do you want to say to the students of MCPS as you move towards becoming their SMOB?
Don't give up the fight. And I would say that a lot of times it seems like we can be losing hope, but as I'm not going to give up this fight with these wings, I'm going to keep pushing through it. But we'll say that there is change that can be made, and whether it seems like your school is not getting enough funding, or whether it seems like mental health is on the decline, which is true in most cases, we have good student leaders right now, and we're fighting to make change, and we can keep doing it, and we need your help. And I would say, even if you're not traditionally an advocate, join those organizations. You think you're a little bit shy, join those organizations. You don't know where to start, just join. Go ahead, do it, and that's what I did, and I'm a student member of the board, so definitely, even if you think it's not your thing, definitely try it out, and I think it'll be worth it in the end.
We made it through.
We made it through. I think for me, it really started right here. That made my eyes water, my nose started getting weird, my tongue started burning. I'm not gonna lie, the next couple after were a little bit of a relief. And then this one came back and it bites you and I'm still feeling the burning. When I talk, this just gets worse.
Yep. Heart attack.
Yeah, oh yeah, an attack, gosh. And it's just like every time I talk and breathe out, it's like a burn and it feels like really just like a fire raging through my mouth and then, God.